Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing really well. I haven't filmed a sit down video like this in such a long time, but I'm actually really excited to. So today, as you can see, I'm starting the video a little strangely with my hair in a towel, but the reason for this is that I have just washed my hair. It is wet and we are testing out the Dyson Airstrait. So I was recently sent the Airstrait and I've been so excited to test this out, and I thought, why not sit down and test it on camera so that I can share my first impressions with you. So that's today's video. So I have washed my hair for the sake of this video. It has just been sat in a towel. As you can see, it still is very much wet, but I'm going to test it out in two halves. So I'm going to split my hair. We're going to work with the left side and the right side. And for the purpose of this video, I think we will go left side as wet to dry. So I'm going to put away the side on the right and then we will come back to that later. I've partitioned my hair into two sides. I feel like this is the best way to experiment with the Dyson Airstrait. So on the left side, my hair is wet, needs drying, so I'm going to use the wet mode on the Dyson Airstrait to hopefully dry my hair straight. And then on the right hand side of my hair, I'm going to dry that as I normally would, so just a rough blow dry. And then once it's dry, I'm going to go over it with the Dyson Airstrait to see just how straight it can make my hair, whether it is like using straighteners but a better alternative. So from what I've seen, I've been doing a bit of research before trying this out, and the first step is to roughly blow dry the roots so that they are dry. So as you can hear, it's currently working, and what you do, you press it together, and when you press it together, it obviously blows more air. So I would say that that is the tops of my hair dry. I actually think it dried much more than the tops of my hair. I'd say my hair feels dry up to about here probably. I guess because I have quite, well, not short hair, but I suppose medium length hair at the moment. So I've sectioned it off as I would typically straighten my hair. So I'm going to go with two sections because my hair is naturally straight. Let's not take away from that. I'm not expecting to see any groundbreaking results from this because I do have naturally quite straight hair. I just think that in terms of achieving a sleeker, shinier finish with my hair, sort of more like the type of finish I'll get after a blow dry, for example, if this achieves that with -1 step, it's fantastic. Okay, I mean, that is pretty impressive. I think I just did one take of this. I didn't go in twice, and I think that's actually done a really nice job. It feels super soft. It feels like it looks quite shiny as well, and I mean, that took little to no time. I actually think I can do slightly larger chunks of hair, to be honest, because I don't have particularly thick hair, so I feel like I can definitely use chunks, like larger chunks, but maybe I'm going to split this into two parts. Don't know if you can tell, this little section here isn't as straight as I would like it to be, so I'm going to go over that section again. so this side is dry, and I mean, I think it's done an excellent job. It took so little time. If anything, it's just a massive time saver, to be honest with you. If I were blow drying my hair, I feel like I would literally be here for ages just blow drying my hair. But I mean, it's dry, it's straight. I have to say I am impressed. However, I don't necessarily think this gives the same effect as a standard pair of straighteners would, where the straighteners have the hot plates and obviously the Airstraights work purely on hot air. I do think you don't necessarily achieve the sleek straights do. I think in these larger sections you can't really tell, but for example in this front section that I have here that is slightly shorter as part of my layers, I think you can see that it does still have a bit of like movement, and it doesn't look as like sleek straight as it would with straighteners. So that's quite interesting, because I mean, I do think my hair looks straight, don't get me wrong, I don't think it doesn't look straight, but it's not the same straightened effect as my hair would have if I were using a straightener. So what I'm going to do now is to put that theory to the test. And now on my right side, my hair is still a little bit wet, and I'm going to blow dry this with a hairdryer, rough blow dry as I normally would. Then we will compare both the sides of my Dyson Airstrait side and then my natural hair, so that we can see sort of what it's achieved in terms of the different drying methods. What I've done is just roughly blow dried my hair, which is what I would typically do when washing my hair. So I will be honest, I didn't expect to see a big difference, because my hair is quite straight naturally. I mean, it's not, you know, poker straight, but it's straight enough. I don't have a wave or a kink or a curl in my hair. So I wasn't expecting to see any major differences between just rough blow drying and actually using the Dyson Airstrait. But I have to eat my words, because I do actually think you can notice quite a big difference, to be honest with you. I think the left side just generally looks straighter. It looks like I have straightened my hair, which technically I haven't done. I've simply dried it with the Dyson Airstrait. But on the right side, it's been roughly blow dried, but I think you can see it's just like a bit bigger. It's like slightly more flickier, particularly here on the front sections. And I showed you on this side how it's looking like it does definitely have a bit more movement, but compared to this side, I think you can definitely tell it is far straighter. And just in terms of like, I don't really know, but there's definitely a difference there. This side just looks so much more sleeker, so much more just straighter than my right side, which I just roughly blow dried. I genuinely didn't expect to see such a difference, so I am actually quite surprised. And I don't know if I'm like picking at straws here, but genuinely I am impressed and I am surprised. I think particularly just for like these sections that always have a bit more movement, where I have the layers cut into my hair, I just think that the Dyson has really calmed that and settled that in so nicely. But now that this section is dry, what I'm going to do is again test out the Airstrait and see how good it is at now straightening my already dry hair. So this time I am going to go from the wet mode to dry mode. And again, I'm going to section my hair, because I would do that if I were straightening it anyway. So what I am doing though is taking much bigger chunks. I wouldn't typically straighten this much of my hair in one go, but because the Dyson has the hot air blowing from all around it, I feel like it can handle it. I went over it twice for this section because it was quite a large section, but I think that's done a pretty good job. Now this does feel like a little too big of a section, so I am going to split it into two. I actually think that was too big of a section. So So I am going to split it in two. I don't know if you noticed, but when I was bringing down, it kind of came out, so it felt like too big. Okay, so there's definitely still kind of like kinks, not kinks, but like little flicks here, which with a straightener would obviously straighten it, and I kind of feel like this gives it more of maybe a like natural finish. Okay, that definitely helped straighten it a little bit more, I'd say, but not to the extent of a straightener. But actually, now that I went over that bit a little bit more on this side, I can see that this side, the left side, which I did from wet to dry, definitely still has like more of the natural flick here, whereas this side where I went over it, I think I did go over this section like 3 times though, but where I did that, it definitely is looking a little straighter. So what I'm going to do is do the same for this side here, these front little layers. Okay, this is how my hair's looking. And now that I have tested out the Dyson Airstrait in both wet mode and dry mode, I'm going to share my final thoughts, my pros and cons of the Dyson Airstrait. Let's start off with the pros, because it's always good to start on a good note. Number one, the speed. It dries so quickly. For me and my hair type, 1 to 2 passes over a strand of hair is enough to get it from wet to dry, which I think is pretty impressive. Using this will absolutely slash the drying time of my hair after I wash it, which is something I'm always very happy with. My hair is at a medium length at the moment, but there are times when my hair has been super long that I imagine this would have been so good to have in my hair care routine, because it really does just quicken and speed up the process of drying my hair to a finished state so much faster. Another incredible benefit of the Dyson Airstrait is the fact that it doesn't use hot plates. So that to me is really the selling point of this, actually, is achieving that straight hair finish look without the heat damage. So as it doesn't use hot plates, it instead uses this hot air, which doesn't damage your hair. And that to me just sounds so good, because I will be honest, I don't need to straighten my hair as often as I do. I have a fairly straight hair, so I don't necessarily, or I shouldn't necessarily straighten my hair as often as I do, and this obviously cuts that out and cuts out some of the heat damage that using hot plates and other tools on my hair does. Another pro is that you can use this on both wet and dry hair, so you can use it to essentially dry your hair from wet to dry and straightened, and you can also use it when your hair is already dry. So if the next day you want to maybe touch up your hair, or you think it's got like a few kinks, or maybe even if you've worn it tied up and it starts to get a few kinks from hair bands and being tied up in a bun and things like that, this is very easy to just pick up, go over your hair. Another pro is that I think my hair looks really, really shiny and just healthy, in my opinion. I have very dark, straight hair anyway, but I do think that as you look at it, it does definitely look shinier, it looks healthier, and I mean, that's always good. And in terms of the tool itself, I'm actually going to show you some of the few different modes. So you turn it on, and as you turn it on, it does a quick cleanup mode. And then in the next button, you can choose to do wet hair or dry hair. And then let's start off with wet hair. You can do a cool mode as well, where it's blowing cool air instead of hot air, or you can just go for the standard hot air. You can choose if it's high or low fan mode, and then the temperatures. So for wet hair, you can choose between 80 degrees, 110 degrees, or 140 degrees. And then for dry mode, you can choose between 120 degrees, 140 degrees, and also boost. And I feel like what Boost does is just boost the air. I think you can hear it. When you put this down, actually I'm going to put it here so that you can see it. It pauses. And I think that's probably one of the most exciting sort of techie features of it, that you put it down and it's smart enough to know that it's not being used, so it just pauses until you pick it up again. Another pro of the Dyson Airstrait is where the heat comes out from. So it actually comes out of this whole panel through here. So as you're blow drying your hair this way, it's constantly shooting out hot air, which is therefore helping to either dry or straighten your hair depending on whichever mode you're using it in. And on the inside it has these, they're not hot plates, but I suppose plates, that then when they have the hot air blowing and then that blows on top of them, that's what sort of straightens your hair in the end. So it's really smart technology. We've talked about the pros, so we have to talk about the cons as well. Con number one is the price tag. It's very expensive. This retails at just under £450, which is a lot of money to spend on a hair tool. Which leads me to the question, is it worth it? Honestly, I don't know how to answer this question, and actually I'm quite stuck on whether or not it's worth it, because I am so sure that I am going to be using this a lot. I actually think it's going to replace my whole blow drying routine, and I'm just going to use the Dyson Airstrait because it is so quick, so easy, less heat damage, and I achieve a much straighter look than I would with just standard blow drying my hair. However, cost has to come into account here, and it is just under £450, which is a lot of money. Hair tools generally are on the pricier side, but this is incredibly pricier than, you know, a straightener and a hairdryer would be. So you're definitely investing in something for the long term. You're investing in your hair's health, you're investing in taking less time, you're investing in something expensive. So it's deciding whether you think this is actually missing in your routine, if it's going to make a big difference to your hair care, and if it's actually worth it for you personally. Another negative is that you won't be able to use the Airstrait as you would standard straighteners, because you can't use it to achieve any sort of straightener curls or anything like that. You can probably use it to achieve a little flick in your hair, but where it doesn't use hot plates, like standard hot plates, you can't achieve a curl or anything like that, because really the Dyson Airstrait works by shooting out hot air from below. So hot air alone isn't going to curl your hair. So if you enjoy doing curls using your straightener, for example, the Dyson Airstrait most likely won't be able to achieve that. However, I do think you can achieve both a sleek look like I have now, and I also do think you would be able to achieve a slightly more like blow dried effect. And I also like the fact that you can use it purely on your roots as well. So actually, in terms of adding volume, I think if you section your hair like this and then blow dry from below, you'll be able to achieve huge levels of volume for your hair as well. Another con for me is that it's bulky. This is huge in terms of a plug. I don't think I have any hair tools or anything in my house with a plug that is this chunky. It's very large, and then this is also definitely bigger than your standard straighteners are, because it's slightly bulkier on the top, and then it's slightly longer in my opinion as well. However, it's not heavy or anything. It's actually really lightweight to hold, to be honest. Even the plug, despite its ginormous size, it's still fairly lightweight. And my final con is a really quite random one, to be honest with you, but my room looks so foggy after using the Dyson Airstrait. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because I went obviously from wet to dry hair and we have the heating on, that then it sort of ended up creating a mist in the room, and it just looks just foggy. I don't know how else to explain it. It sounds really weird. It's almost like it's steamed up in here, which is a little bit strange, I guess. Like, not necessarily something I would expect from using the Dyson Airstrait, but I suppose a culmination of the heat, the air just constantly blowing, and then the wet particles from having wet hair sort of dispersing into the room, it's probably led to sort of like steaming up a little bit, which is a little bit weird, because I don't get that when I blow dry my hair with a classic hair dryer. So that's a bit of an odd one. Maybe it's because it's new and this was the first time I used it, so that could also have something to do with it. I'm not too sure. I don't really know why that happened, but it did. So those were my thoughts and first impression on the Dyson Airstrait. And let me know what you think about it. Is it maybe something that you have your eye on? Are you tempted by it? Have you tried it? What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm going to continue using and testing this, and I will let you know how I get on with it. But thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel as well if you're new around here, and I will see you all soon in a brand new video. Bye.